Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? My name's Bubba. I've been out of the picture here for a while, but I bought a new computer and moving over to Linux and away from Windows. Um, I can no longer have a Windows product. Uh, they have built spyware in every single thing inside that program that they have, even even into your clipboards and every single thing in Windows 11. I had Windows 10. I liked it. It was great, um, but no longer have any support. So lack of security. So I moved over to Zorin 18, which is a Linux distro, and I'm trying to work out the bugs here doing my videos. Uh, Still got a learning curve. Trying to get them hooked up. I have two monitors set up so I can go back and forth, but I'm not able to hook up a couple things because Linux doesn't accept what I had before. So I have to find new stuff to, for instance, DaVinci.com, Black Magic Design. It's a video editor, open source. It was free. Totally awesome program, but Linux doesn't accept it. So now I got to dive through all the different things they have to find a new editor. So I'm trying to formulate a mind. But I seen this video here today, and it just broke my heart, made me mad as hell. So I'm gonna try to do this best I can. It's gonna be garbage looking, but I do have to say something about what was said and what was going on in this hearing with Jamie Raskins. The man's a snake. I wanted to show you another one about this Johnson guy, but I don't want to make this too long. But I want to get to the point. This here is Political Brawl. One of the guys I follow quite a bit. He's always has awesome videos, so look him up. But let's see if I can't do this without looking too stupid. Let's go here. Transition over.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and Jamie Raskin doesn't just stick his foot in his mouth on this one. This witness might just end his entire career because she exposes him in front of the rest of Congress. Let's dive in.
DHS is not focused on going after the worst of the worst, a category of violent criminals quickly exhausted, with Stephen Miller demanding 3,000 draconian immigration arrests every single day. Federal agents simply started indiscriminately rounding up immigrants and American citizens who looked like immigrants, according to the agents. ICE has arrested kindergartners, daycare teachers, parents dropping off their kids at school. They dragged U.S. citizen grandparents out of their homes in their underwear in sub-zero temperatures and ripped children from their beds in the middle of the night, using them as bait to arrest their parents. Your testimony is an important and powerful reminder that the fundamental responsibility of our federal law enforcement and justice system is to keep the people safe and to ensure that no one is ever above the law and no one is ever beneath it. The government must stand on the side of victims of crimes, not their perpetrators. I try to remind Attorney General Bondi of that principle when she appeared here before our committee. That's why we've been so focused on insisting that we hear from the victims of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in their elite pedophile network. The women survivors who our government has failed at every turn. This is also why we speak up for all of the people victimized and harmed by the people who stormed the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Not only the over 150 police officers who were bludgeoned, beaten, crushed, and even died because of what happened.
I gotta stop that one right there because what he just said there is totally false. I watched every single video that was ever made about January 6th. I watched cops let the people through. They encouraged them. And as that moved, then they started shooting rubber bullets at people to enrage them. Nancy Pelosi was the one that was supposed to be the one to call the National Guard in, but she refused it along with the mayor of Washington, D.C. They don't show you that. But most people in this country do not look any farther than their nose. If somebody says something, oh, it must be true. They never check nothing out. Now, let's get back into this.
Happened that day, but also for all of those who have been harmed by the January 6th perpetrators after they got their pardons from President Trump.
Ms. Fox, you may begin.
Thank you for reminding us where we were.
Now, this is going to be a little bit hard to watch because it's very emotional. So, if you're weak, I advise you not to watch it. But this woman has a very important story to tell. Let's get back into this.
I thought for a second that I wandered into an Epstein file hearing. Now that I've been holding my arms open to what life has to offer me, I couldn't be happier. That was the last text from my daughter roughly 2 hours before an unlicensed, uninsured, illegal alien would run a stop sign, cross 3 lanes of traffic without looking, and collide with Carissa, slamming her head first into a concrete barrier. The driver then fled the scene with her boyfriend and Nat, not knowing if my daughter was alive or dead. My daughter was ambitious. She was enrolled in esthetician school. She quickly rose to the top of her class, landed jobs with high-end salons. She'd smile with confidence as she talked about her dreams of opening a skincare line based on beauty secrets around the world. She was very specific that her goal was to make quality skincare affordable for everyone, because everyone deserved to feel beautiful. I was so proud of the young woman that Carissa was blossoming into before my eyes. She would have done it too, because when my daughter put her mind to something, she achieved it. Now, she's minimally conscious, nonverbal, is wheelchair-bound, and eats through a feeding tube. She has very little cognitive control over her body. She communicates discomfort through grunts and moans, and at night she often calls out to me. I think she's afraid of the dark, or of being alone, or both. I don't know for sure, because she can't tell me. I know the pulse ox that monitors her vitals while she's sleeping says her heart rate is high when I walk in. Then I touch her arm and sing to her in those wee hours, and her heart rate goes back down, and she goes to sleep. And to think we're the lucky ones. My little girl survived. I still get to kiss her. I still get to hold her hand. Many angel families don't get that. That blessing is not lost on me. For us, there is hope, regardless of what the doctors say, because my God is big, and he happens to be in the business of miracles. But hope for the future does not erase today's reality. That reality is my daughter's care is now my full-time responsibility. Her medical needs are extensive. Her medical bills, well into 7 figures and growing. The person responsible for this has contributed nothing. I'm not here out of anger, but out of responsibility. Responsibility to my daughter, and responsibility to ensure that what happened to Carissa is not simply dismissed as an unfortunate exception, but recognized as an all too common pattern. This is not just about my family. Destructive sanctuary policies carry real-world consequences. Angel families live with these consequences every day. Each angel family that comes before all of you is risking more pain and trauma. We receive death threats. We've lost friends. We have to relive our trauma over and over again every time we tell our stories. But who's going to tell our stories if we don't? You'll never hear Carissa's story from Colorado Democrats like John Hickenlooper, Jason Crow, Brittany Peterson, or Joe Neguse. So here we are, telling our stories until not one more American daughter, American son, or American family loses a loved one to these fully preventable tragedies. We are often told that illegal aliens commit crimes at lower rates than American citizens. They say studies show. But when you start digging into those studies, they don't hold up under scrutiny. So let's talk about some statistics that we do know.
Well, all those statistics are wrong. Because most of these sanctuary states and cities have stopped reporting them. So it makes it look like crime goes down for a political advantage for the person in that state or city. It's something that people don't know about because they don't look. Back to the story.
Unlicensed drivers are estimated to have 5 times higher risk of being involved in a fatal crash. They are often involved in reckless behaviors, such as speeding and impaired driving, leading to higher rates of serious injury and fatalities. Colorado has one of the highest rates of uninsured drivers in the United States, with estimates between 17 and 20%. Of all uninsured Colorado drivers, about 25% are estimated to be unlicensed illegal aliens. Do you think that a driver is magically protected from these statistics simply because they're undocumented? Here's another factual statistic. Entering the United States illegally is considered a criminal offense under federal law. 100% of illegal aliens are criminals. We often hear that enforcement should only focus on the worst of the worst. My daughter was not harmed by someone that was labeled as the worst of the worst. She was harmed by someone who shouldn't have been in a position to hurt her in the first place.
I don't know what to do with this. I don't. I get paid to do this. For some reason, y'all listen to me. I don't know why. And this isn't that fake humility bit that politicians put on. Sometimes I don't know why. Maybe this is the reason. I'm able to elaborate on a whole multitude of topics. I've made politics my life for the past, technically, 11 years. It's actually been much, much longer. Pretty much my entire life. Been dedicated to the study. Noticing things, noticing trends, consuming content that makes me smarter.
I'm kind of like this guy. I started over 25 years ago as I left the Democratic Party. Then I joined along with the Republicans. I'm no longer either. I'm an independent. Now, you give me a good person, I'll vote for him. There was 2 Democrats I'd probably vote for. One, she's in charge of the CIA now. The other one is John Fetterman. At first I thought, oh my God, this guy, he can't be in office. But I've been amazed by this man because he is common sense, you know, and he's for the people over the party. You don't see that too often anymore. Let's get back into this. I admire this man, this political bro. He's got some really good videos. There we go.
These numbers are true. All right. I don't bring up numbers a lot because I trust other people who are better at that kind of stuff. I'm not Actual Justice Warrior or Walk Don't Run Productions, who take much more time into their efforts and produces different style of content. I love listening to those guys. I trust them. Maybe that's the reason you trust me, because I pay attention to it. But this is real. This is happening. Jamie Raskin is denying it. Why? Why is there an entire political party who seems like they have only really three things to run on now? Protecting illegal migrants, talking about empathy, and hating Donald Trump. Is that all this game is now? Where is the empathy for this mother?
You got a point there. All they got is those three things. They're not trying to make your country better or safer. They got to get rid of Trump. You stop them in the tracks, caught them with all this fraud, and then people get stoked up. They'll never look at the stuff. So locked into their theology that nothing will change their mind. Even if Trump cured every single thing in the world, they would still hate him. Mind you of something else, another person that did something like that? Yeah, let's get back into this.
Where is Democrats? I want to know. I want to see it from you. There's a great rule and rules for radicals that us Republicans need to start using. Us conservatives, us MAGA. Hold your opponents to the same standards that they would hold you. These people do not wish to see justice for Americans who have been harmed physically and emotionally by the idiocies of illegal immigration. We have countless cases now. It's documented everywhere. We know where it is. We know what's happening. And the Democrat Party, just for some reason, says, big whoop. Whatever. Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain. Don't notice the obvious truth. We don't have to live like this. We don't have to. But in blue states, it's even worse. I think this story came out of, Colorado? That state has gone completely insane over just the course of a few years. Virginia has been now captured in all three branches, and within months, the state started deteriorating. Mondami gets voted in because a bunch of millennials don't understand that the further left you go in these urban areas, the worse the policies get. And Mondami comes in, and he has been a terrible mayor in just a span of 3 months. Like, historically bad mayor. What are we doing? California, a paradise. Perfect weather. Wine country. You can go over there and start an entire movie industry. Beautiful mountains, multiple mountain ranges at that. Stunning deserts. And it's one of the worst states to live because their policies have gone nuts. They don't work, and they refuse to do the work that is needed to save the state, because admitting that they got something wrong will lead to catastrophic failure for their party. And so they choose party over their own people. That's what's happening. And we're just left to deal with the nonsense. We don't have to live like that. We don't have to deal with migrants who are invited here on false pretenses, use up resources that are not directly allocated for them, harm infrastructure, and then artificially lower my wage and opportunities in life. First I was sad, now I'm angry. I'm mad. M-A-D, mad. And not all Republicans are on board with this message, by the way. There has to be a way to deal with this problem. And we're getting at least some of that right now in the Trump administration. But there is more justice to seek. Keep seeking it. And pray for this mother and her daughter, along with the other victims, as often as you can.
Well, I hope with some of you that stayed in all the way through this video, I want to get back online and start getting these words out. For a long time, I prayed that the minorities would come out of the mind lock that the Democrats had over them. It took me a little while, you know. They were supposed to be for the working people. This is not your mom or dad's Democratic Party anymore. It is not. It's socialism. Socialism is a baby word and a sweet little word not to say communism. See, they want a one party rule. Yeah. They're hemorrhaging voters in the masses. They're losing the black vote, they're losing the Hispanic vote, they're losing the Asian vote because they got no clue how to do anything. They're there for the power. And, put it this way, if you're going to be a thief, you might as well be a good one and get in the government. How many billions of dollars have been thrown away, especially right here in my home state of Minnesota, with the fraud? And so what do? They stir up their Democratic voters. See, I always loved Minnesota because we always had good people here. But people are changing. People are no longer worried about anybody else besides themselves. And if you try to tell them, here's the case, for instance. We moved out here. We're out in a rural area. I had a good friend. I loved the guy. But we brought up the protest about Trump, and I said something to him, and he said, "Oh, I don't ever want to talk to you again." Yeah. Well, it took him about 3 weeks. He finally let up. We were talking again. But the other day, he stopped over at our other place over here where we had our camper at, and he got close to that, and I decided I ain't gonna say anything, man, because what does it say? By example, right? So it's what the good Lord tells us, You can win. How does that say? I forgot what I'm talking about. But anyways, I hope you stayed to the end. I usually go pretty long-winded on this, but this video is going to be chopped up and goofy because I can't set it up to the way I had it before. It's going to take me a minute or two to get it there, but I hope you watched it. And if you like it, hit the like button. Help me get that spreads this little old guy's channel out there a little farther because I believe there's a lot of people like me that just, been wandering around tiptoeing and tiptoeing because they're too afraid to say anything because we've been boxed into a into a box where they didn't want to let us out. They don't want us to talk to each other. They don't want us to communicate with one another because that's how knowledge grows. They don't want you to have any knowledge. You know, like George Carlin, that great comedian, said, they want a society full of people that are just smart enough to run the machines. In other words, slaves. Yeah. Well, God bless. Have a great night. See you on another one, maybe. Come on,